You are now tuned in to Bad Deals Only.
So we're going to get into some read and react.
I'm in.
So producer Nick pulled some stories from Reddit for us, and we are going to read these terrible stories, which, well, hopefully they're terrible. We could actually just be roasting producer Nick because he picked shitty
These are
stories.
just normal stories. Just
Yeah, it's like my deal didn't close on time. Like, oh, geez, big shocker. This one's out of Georgia, it looks like. I'm going to try and paraphrase as much as possible, but I apologize in advance for
give me the meat
misreading.
and potatoes.
Well, I haven't read them yet.
I'll set you
I
straight.
haven't read them yet. So the worst seller was actually a heartbreaking deal, but I felt like I did the right thing despite breaking some laws and contracts.
So this is from the perspective of the agent.
Interesting start here. I don't know. It's from JCH. J Critty or J Rich Daddy. I'm not sure how to pronounce this.
Sure.
It does say that they're a realtor in Georgia.
Got it.
I was in the office one day as an agent on duty. No one does that anymore. And this older gentleman drives. This is key, by the way, to the story. Drives up and is unable to get out of the car. However, he calls and wants to talk to somebody in order to sell his house. I go outside. I have a short conversation with him. Nothing out of the ordinary. He has a lot of health problems and needs to sell his house. I end up going over there, and the house is an absolute mess. Shocker. I tell him that we'll have to have it cleaned, and he tells me that some of his folks from church are going to come by and clean it for him soon. Great. Again, nothing out of the ordinary. I draw up the listing agreement, go over with him, and have my conversation about where he will be moving to after this. Feels like that should have come earlier. He wants something smaller, which makes sense, as he can't move around so much. He has rooms he never goes into, and he might as well pay for some of his medical bills and move somewhere that works better for him. He asked me some questions about the listing and then asked me where to sign. I pointed out, this is also key, it says.
Okay.
And he signs. Interesting. The house goes on the market. We get a bunch of calls to show, and he refuses all of them on the basis that the house isn't clean. He's getting increasingly erratic to the point that I start wondering if people are coming to clean his house after all. This listing agent is terrible, by the way.
So far, yeah, not stellar.
Yeah, this is just like every listing I work with. I eventually get him to let a couple people in despite it being completely disgusting, and we get a good offer. I drive over with the offer and a bunch of printouts for the houses that would potentially be interested in to move to. In the conversation we have about the offer, he's not really getting what I'm saying to him. Even after going through it a couple of times, he just wants to hear in his head. And all of this, even after going through all of this a couple of times, he just wants to hear what he wants to in his head. And it raises some red flags. He picks up a stack of potential houses, looks at it, and then asks me where to sign. At this point, I was 100% sure he was not in the right state of mind, so I didn't want him to let the sign the contract. He starts calling someone to tell him that he sold the house. Great. I asked if he could talk to them on the phone and tell them the good news. I talked to the person on the phone who asked who I was speaking to, and it was someone from the church who has helped him out a few times. However, she had not been in the house. There's no real caretaker, and I tell her the situation, and she's definitely taken aback. Apparently, this has been showing signs of dementia. But I'm guessing during our dealings, his condition took a turn for the worse. I lie to him and tell him I need to get the contract for him to sign, and I just jet. I drive to his caretaker's house and sit down with her and her husband to tell them everything that's happened, and I tell them that I'm not letting him sign the contract. I'm telling the other agent what's going on and where we need to keep the listing agreement, and will we keep the listing agreement in case he tries to go to anyone else to sell the house. He was pretty angry when I left without having him sign the contract. Is that the whole story?
That was it.
That was the whole thing? That was the worst story of all time.
Not a great story. Definitely a bad agent. Definitely saw dollar signs and not the like. Really should have read the room better at the beginning. Like who's like the house is dirty. Like you're putting it on. You're listing it without getting it on. Sellers all the time will tell you, "Hey, I don't want to show it until this is clean. This doesn't work for me." Like, yeah. I just think that's a bad agent. I do think the smartest thing he or she did, if Jay each critty is a man or woman, was, recognizing at least before a legal document was executed and the buyer started going down their diligence route and spending more money to not get it executed or to raise the red flag, but probably could have done it a little sooner.
That was a tough story.
Not good.
Nah.
Not a good.
No, that was just like a normal Tuesday at work.
That's just exactly. Yes. Nothing out of the ordinary.
As someone who doesn't work in the industry, that seems shocking that would happen.
That's, I mean, other than someone selling their house that maybe has dementia, I mean, that definitely happens. But I don't think that the rest of that story was.
But also now everyone thinks that they're a doctor. Like, I'll people be like, oh, this person has dementia. And I'm like, well, like, oh, they have diagnosed dementia. They're like, no, they just like they forget some things.
Memory.
And I'm like, no, like we need like I actually can't tell an owner either. They're like, oh, you can't sign this because I think you're this. Like, we need a medical opinion. Because I have people all the time like, oh, my grandma's in a nursing home. I'm like, oh, okay, and they're like, yeah, and she like, I think my mom's the power of attorney. I'm like, oh, is she diagnosed? She can't sign contracts? Like, no. I'm like, well, I can't just have your mom sign if this like living woman here is like capable of signing it.